Well, let's take you back now to matters of energy. Earlier, the minister in the Energy Department, Gwede Mantashe, saying government is ramping up power supply to Eskom and is to help cushion the country from power cuts. He signed 3 preferred bidders for independent power producers under the 5th bid window of Renewable Energy Procurement Program. We're now joined by the IPP Office's Chifiwa Mahoro. Good evening, Chifiwa. Thank you so much for your time tonight. So it certainly is a significant step that has been taken. Tell me about the role that your organization will be playing as it relates to then the funding around these projects.
Thank you, Kathy. Good evening to you and good evening to the viewers at home. Yeah, so the IPP Office is an agency of the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. And what we do is to run the procurement process on behalf of the department, where we procure power from independent power producers. And in this instance, obviously, Eskom will be the buyer of that energy.
And when it comes to the role that you're playing then in that procurement role, tell us about some of the considerations that you have had to make, especially in trying to determine who are the best players to sign off on these bids.
So what we do, we put together RFPs, like a normal tender process that any other government entity will undertake. And in there, the difference between us and the other tenders is that this is a long-term contract. So we're signing a 20-year deal with these suppliers. And as part of that procurement process, you would have heard today that there is an economic development aspect to it. So what that means is that we are not only procuring energy, we insist that there should be transformation, for example. So these companies must partner with local players, both in terms of the South African entities, but also in terms of black economic transformation, where we insist that 30% of the companies must be owned by black people. There's also women empowerment that is involved there as well. And over and above that, we insist on local content. We also insist on supporting the local economies where the projects will be located.
How do you ensure that these companies are up to scratch in terms of being able to deliver to the mandate that these contracts are worth?
So part of my responsibility is contract management. So I've got 2 elements. One is procurement. So what we concluded today is the procurement role that we perform. Once these projects have now been signed agreements, have construct these power plants, then they go into operation. And then there is another leg that's also part of the IPP office where we do contract management. And what we do there, we monitor deliveries on those commitments that have been made today.
As it stands, of course, we've been told that it could still be some time before we see the impact of the work that will come out of what these contractors are going to be doing. But as the IPP office, what are the timelines that you are working within before we can see additional capacity added to the grid?
Yes, procurement takes time, Kathy. I wish this power could come online tomorrow. So procurement alone, because of the magnitude of the programs that we run, it takes up to 2 years. So we started bid window 5 last year, April, and we only signed the agreements today. And this is normal. In fact, in the past, it used to take longer. But now, with all the lessons over the last 10 years, it's now taking quicker, and we're hoping that it will be faster going forward. But construction, again, it's infrastructure. It's large infrastructure projects. Construction alone for wind power plants takes about 24 months. So we're expecting capacity from what we signed today to be online by the end of 2024. That is just the nature of large infrastructure projects, unfortunately.
Is there additional work that still needs to be done with regard to the terms and conditions of these contracts?
So where we ended up today is that we signed the agreements. So what the successful bidders are going to do from now on, they are going to finalize their arrangements with their suppliers, because a lot of them, these are shell companies, these are investors. They now have to go and get the engineering companies that will do the construction work for them. They have to buy equipment from all over the world. As I said, there is a local content that we require them to buy certain things in South Africa. So that construction is the one that I said, it takes 2 years to get that facility to be ready to start generating electricity and supplying to ESCOM.
When it comes to ensuring that these companies are actually up to the task of undertaking this work, do they have to show the bidders that they have on standby, or the investors rather, that they have standing by to be able to fund these projects?
Oh, yes. There is a very stringent requirement right from the bidding stage where they have to show us, the financial terms that they have sponsors that will be able to fund this project. So that's part of the evaluation criteria that we conduct as part of the evaluation process. So they have to demonstrate to us that they're able to raise this money. Just to give you an example, today's 3 projects, the total investment required for those 3 facilities for 420 megawatts, it's 11 billion rand. So these are massive projects. And, we can't just give anybody a contract without demonstrating that they have the money or they're able to raise the money to fund these projects.
All right. The IPP Office's Chifiwa Makoro will leave it there for tonight.